Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Truth Will Set You Free show. This show was brought to you by TLBTV and the Liberty Beacon Project. I'm your host, Linda Diane Wattley, and as usual, I'm always anxious to get with my guests, but I'm going to slow down a little bit, but I am excited because I'm really impressed with my guest's accomplishments, what she wants to accomplish with other people. Not only with other people, but with herself, because she's a living example that you can have your dreams come true. And she puts so much into what she do. And her main thing is to empower other women. And that's a blessing for us today, that we could come together, make a difference for each other. But she is in everything. She wants people to be good advocates of their own business. I say in people, but I'm talking about women. But the men, they can come along. But this is a woman thing with her because she has her own podcast where people come in, they share their strengths, their weaknesses, the things they've learned. It's just open and beautiful. She's an amazing author. She's an amazing speaker. And I'm not speaking lightly when I use the word amazing because she gets things done. In fact, that she had learned so much about entrepreneur that she felt like other women can avoid a lot of the things that she experienced just by reading her book. Her book is like a Bible for entrepreneuring for women, because I read that book and I said, wow, I wish I had gotten that book when I was in my 20s. And that book is amazing. It's called Good Girls Do Sell: The Modern Businesswoman's Guide to Authentic Selling. Oh, that book is awesome. It makes me want to start all over again. But I'll just be thankful that I learned the things I have. How you doing, Janeen?
Oh, look, I'm doing well, Linda, and I love that introduction. Thank you. I'm feeling pretty boosted now.
Janeen Vosper. I like that name. And Janeen is from Australia.
I am. I'm from sunny Queensland.
Yeah. How is it over there today?
It's actually a little bit overcast today. We've had sensational autumn weather and, it sits around 70 to 80 degrees all through autumn and winter here during the day. It's sunshine. It's beautiful. So a little bit of cloud and a bit of rain doesn't hurt us every so often.
So you're saying actually in Australia, this is your winter season?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, because we're going into our summer season here in the United States.
Yeah. So upside down, reversed, different sides of the road driving, different, there's a whole thing that's, one of the things, even the water goes down the toilet bowl in the opposite direction. Yes, it does.
Oh my God.
I know. Or wow. Water goes down any drain in the opposite direction. Yeah.
So when the last time you've been in the United States?
Last July, I was there. Yeah.
Really?
I had a 4 weeks there, but I had it with a friend. We did a Thelma and Louise, and we drove from Seattle to Las Vegas.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. I really want to talk about what you have to share with women. Mm-hmm. Because, when you look at what's going on in the world today, it's almost like the uprising of women.
Absolutely.
Especially with celebrities, putting up with people in professional positions and high places. Mm-hmm. But I want you to share with us what happened to you at Woolworths when you was just a young kid.
I know. I started my working career. I left school at 15. I had all intentions of going back to school. I got the summer job and thought, this is great. I'll earn some money. But my first pay packet was $37, and I was just amazed that this is a long time ago, Linda. So it was incredible for a 15-year-old to have that much money. So I stayed working in the supermarket. But I had this horrendous boss. He would just bully the young staff, something terrible. He had no respect for any of the young staff at all. And, a lot of, when you're 15, 16, 17, you're not going to question people, when they're bullying. He'd harass them and make them work longer hours. And my name is Janeen, and he used to call me Jan. And I put my foot down and I just ignored him. And he would bellow from one end of the supermarket to the other, Jan. And then he'd come searching for me and he'd be standing over me demanding, didn't you hear me? And I go, no, I didn't hear anyone called Janeen at all. So, yeah, he was horrible. He was horrible. Even then at 15, I just went, it's not acceptable. It's absolutely not acceptable.
And see, I found that interesting at such a young age that you defended yourself, because you know, like what's going on in social media today. It's like these women, they didn't defend themselves. They stuck around. What do you think was the difference in you and the rest of them?
I think the things with confidence, you know, because that's what I coach basically in now is confidence, whether it's speaking or selling or where it comes from. But I think with confidence, there's a couple of things. I think it's a bit innate. I think that's just who you are. You know, you sort of stand your ground from the beginning. And I think the people that tend to push boundaries a little bit tend to have that confidence factor that and maybe we pull them back a little bit now. You know, we don't go walking out on the street because somebody will grab you, you know. And so now we've, what we call in Australia, we've got helicopter parents, and they just hover over their children all the time. So they're not allowing their children that freedom. Whereas we lived in an area that was, they had a massive, we call it a paddock here, a field across the road, and a broken down house and a creek or a stream running through it. So from an early age was allowed to just run wild, really. Not run wild, but run free, and without that monitoring of what we were doing, you know, all of the time. And I think that generation, we were given a lot more freedoms in our generation as children. And I think so part of that being innate sense of confidence, plus that parents allowing me to, you know, to find my own feet and make mistakes and build resilience, which
right, they didn't even mind you not finishing school, correct?
No, as long as I had a job. You know, it was the same with my own sons. We've had a policy that you either have to earn or learn. There's no free ride. So my oldest son, he talked me into finishing school at 16, and he's now 34, and he is responsible for a $350 million construction job.
Wow. See, that's what I like, that difference in people in different places, because it's like in America, it's like, it's such a crime, like if you don't graduate from high school.
Yeah, it's becoming a little bit like that here. They're really focusing on the university education. Ours is set up a little bit differently because you have college and university, don't you? So the college is a bit of a given from your high school, and whereas we don't have that. We have just sort of straight into university, and we do have a college system where it's one or the other. You know, you don't necessarily do both.
So how was you able to build a foundation that you could teach people how to have a great business?
Yeah, so from there, I had a few different jobs in the retail sector. So I learned about customer service and people's needs, and from that, and doing that from an early age. But you know what, Linda, what I've done more than anything else, I've gone and learned from the experts as well. You know, that there's so many people out there that have such great information, and I realized early on that I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to do things, but I don't have to do it all myself, that other people have that information and learn from them and apply, and learn from them and apply. And I've been, as I said, working since I was 15, and we did discuss my age the other day. So I've been working for nearly 45 years. I actually started working at 12. I was working at a car wash, you know, people drive their cars in, and as a part-time Saturday job at 12. So been working for a long time, and all of those skills picked up along the way. Reading books, people who in business who don't read books that other experts have written are crazy. You know, you should have books next to your bed, this stack, you know, this big, because you just want to get information in all the time, or YouTube or whatever, you know, it's learning from others and then applying.
So what made you want to be your own boss?
I ran a business for about 20 years as a general manager of sales, and had a sales team and was successful in that. But I get bored easily. And I think one of the things that when I can hone a skill, and I know there's going to be a lot of people listening to this are going to relate to it, when they've done something that's challenged them, and then they go, right, I've done that now. What's next? What's next? And I've always had that what's next sort of thing, you know, what can I, so I started working with the corporate clients in coach and the contacts I've made, and working with them in professional, teaching how to speak professionally to start with, and then got more into that entrepreneurial market as well, because I just love working with the women. It's awesome seeing them just switch their thinking and believe in themselves. I love that part of it.
Yeah, you have a business in preparing people to be great speakers, right?
Mm-hmm. That's one of them, yeah.
What's the name of it?
That's called Speech Perfect.
Speech Perfect. So yeah. Would you say that was your first business?
Well, no, the actual first name of the business was called Shifting Visions.
Really?
Yeah, it was. So that was sort of you know, anyone in business too, that's something, especially with that entrepreneurial thing, is that evolution. You know, you're constantly growing and you're picking different markets. So the first business was Shifting Visions. So that was more with the intention of being a motivational speaker, changing people's lives. But then it just sort of morphed into the Speech Perfect, because there was more need for that confidence in speaking.
So that's basically what it was for, is to build confidence in people that they can actually communicate with another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's standing in front of 3,000, it's just, it's both skills.
So how did you know you would be a good speaker?
I just because you speak a lot doesn't make you a good speaker, but I think it's part of it helps. It's that confidence factor again. I was the child that on every report card had over talkative in class. And the thing was, I could still learn while I was talking, but most people were distracted by me. And it's funny, I had been doing it and I'd been presenting, and one day I went, I want to get the professional skills with this. And so I Googled something that day and found an organization, which there's actually clubs in the US. It's been an international organization for many years, and it's only just folded internationally. It was Toastmistress clubs.
That's a speaking facility?
Yeah,
really?
Toastmistress, it was, It's now called Power Talk International, and there are clubs in the US still, and there are clubs in Australia and Europe and Japan and New Zealand, but the international.
You won an award, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I won the Australian Power Talk Speaking Champion Club. Yeah.
So was you motivated to be into the speaking world because you knew that's how you generate sales, maybe? Or what was it about it besides self-esteem that you felt like you could profit with it?
Oh, definitely with that, because for me, for my business now, every time I get into a front of an audience, I gather more followers, more clients. You know, that's probably one of the most important things in 2018, is to be able to speak well and to get in front of audiences, to give your information away. You know, they're the two main factors with marketing and people building relationships with you in this year, in this time, is to give information that people are going to find of value. But you know, one of the main stories that I tell with speaking is, and one of the things that I thought I'm never going to get caught without an ability to speak again, is one of my dearest friends, and would you believe we're born 2 months apart and we were neighbours, and she now lives across the parkland behind me, which is very, very cool. Yeah, we've been friends for nearly 60 years. It's awesome. And Deb's dad had cancer and passed away, and they had a beautiful service at the church that they'd been part of for about 40, 50 years, and the pastor knew the family well, and people spoke on his behalf, and it was a bit expected. A couple of months later, Deb's mum passed away, and it wasn't expected. It was a heart attack, and the pastor at that church had moved on, and there was a new pastor who didn't know her or didn't know the family, and everyone was so devastated that they couldn't speak on her behalf. This amazing woman who just shared her love with the family, and I sat on the pews with my parents, and I went, I am never going to be without a voice again, ever. And that was, you know, even though I'd been speaking and doing things, to get up and speak in front of a, you know, in that situation, an emotional situation, in front of other people and speak on someone else's behalf, I was still mute. And I just went, that's never going to happen to me again. And it hasn't. I've spoken at quite a few different funerals and really sad ones where people have taken their own lives, which is really hard to speak at. And people have come up afterwards and said, you were my voice, you know, and yeah. So that's important to me.
Yes, and you shared that with people. That's what I'm saying. You give so much. Like, tell us about your podcast, because it's kind of dynamic. I was listening to some of the previous shows. Share with us about your podcast. And tell us
it's called We Are Women, and I interview amazing women from all over Australia and all over the world. I have had these phenomenal women on, and who've got something to offer women in business who are either starting out as their own, you know, they're trying to work as a micro business and they're trying to do it all themselves. And these amazing people. So, and it's about the health of the business. So it's whether it's marketing or business or finances or even just insurances or how to write good copy, but it's also about a healthy mindset as well. So I have people speak on how to be consciously aware of how being in business is affecting them, how to get past and obstacles that are holding them back. And, you know, we keep hitting walls sometimes and whether we keep going. So, and I also have people speak about their physical health as well, because that's really vital to us as entrepreneurs to keep physically healthy. So it's about, you know, overall health of that female entrepreneur, and an amazing range of topics and subjects, and the people that I invite on the show to speak are just, they give away so much information, a phenomenal amount of information that people can go and just apply straight away into their business. You know, the hard thing about a podcast is people listen to it while they're driving, and they've told me they want to take notes.
At least they could go back and listen to it.
Yeah, and listen again. So yeah, it's called We Are Women.
It's like you find so many avenues to support your passion to empower women in the business world. And, you know, I was thinking, like myself, it's like something happens in my mind when it comes to business matters. It's like I just leave it alone. You know, so do you feel like it's for everybody, or it's just the way you've been raised or knowledge? Because it's like, I get things done, but it's like a certain type of anxiety to my brain when I'm trying to figure things out. Like I finally, maybe you might encourage me a little bit to do this too after I read the book. Because my book, because I kept giving my book to somebody to publish it for me after I wrote it. And I'd let them edit it and do everything. And I always wanted to self-publish, but like I said, I have this thing that goes, and so I just would just leave it alone, thinking it's just not natural for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I am a finisher. And I talk about in my book, because it's about building rapport and authentic relationships with people in sales and selling. And it's in life as well. But I talk about different personality profiles as well, and how that affects how we do things. And there's a really simple one, and I just want to share that. It's if you can relate it to birds. So there's people out there that are owls, and they're amazing at all the details. And if you've got a bookkeeper, an accountant, somebody that's doing all the data, you want them to be an owl. You want them to dot every I, cross every T, and make it really accurate. Now, I don't do that well. And I've taught myself to do it, because when I went into the GM role, I couldn't continue to be the peacock. So we've all got a little bit of all of these. So there's the dove. The dove is that person that's really empathetic and very, very caring for people, and nurturing them and supporting them. And sometimes they get lost themselves because they're spending so much time helping others. Is that right, Linda? Is there a dove in you?
That's funny that you said that, because I was at lunch with my son just recently, and this lady was like 96 years old, and she just kept smiling at me, right? And so she came over to me. She said, "You have eyes of compassion and empathy."
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So that's
what she said. She said, "I just have to hug you."
Yeah.
My son was looking at her like, "Who is this woman?"
I can see that in you. So look, we've all got a bit of everything, as I said.
Yeah.
But then there's a peacock, which is, look at me, you know, I've got all these amazing ideas and I can do things. And peacock and dove sort of sit on the same side of the thing. So you can be a little bit of that both, you know, and got great stuff. But oh my gosh, don't ask me to finish anything off. That's not my style at all. And then there's an eagle, which is, okay, I've got good ideas. How can we implement it? Where's the systems going with this? This is excellent. We'll get it all started. We'll get it all structured, and then we'll hand it to an owl to do all the details. So that's, I sort of sit on that peacock.
You have a lot to do with your nature.
Yes.
But you still can get it done, because after all these years that I have passed my book on, this year, last week, my self-published first book came out.
Fantastic.
And I do believe, honestly, your book really encouraged me.
Oh, I'm so pleased about that. That's awesome.
I really feel like it did, because, you know, I read it some time back.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, just little baby steps. See, a lot of times you want leaps and bounds. You have to do the little baby steps.
Yeah, success isn't overnight. And
no.
You know, the small percentage that has success overnight is not the millions of people that are just plodding along day in and day out to get the job done. So well done. What's the name of your book, Linda?
PTSD to Freedom, No More War Within.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Great.
And I felt so complete. It was a form of feeling complete, because it's something I've always wanted to do.
Oh, well done. And getting it down on paper and getting that emotion out, that's really cool. Yeah.
Okay, so what motivates
my second book now. Sorry, I'm writing my second book. I'm just going to add that in there.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. You have to come back and share that book, because we're still going to talk about your book. But what motivates you on a regular basis to keep pumping that energy towards entrepreneur?
I was asked this the other day, actually, and I'm thinking, so what does motivate me every day? I am, you probably gathered, I'm fairly disciplined. So structure and making it, it's just what I do, you know, it's just a habit of doing that, whether it's getting up and stretching at 6:30 of a morning, or, you know, whatever. Okay, well, I just do it because I can slip into habits easily, and I try to slip into good ones most of the time, but, you know, there's a few others that
I believe you're motivated based on the fact that you are what you talk and write about.
Look, I think that's, yeah, I don't see that, but I think it's a given. Yeah, and it just is easy for me. I love sharing information and figuring out how to do it. I mean, I of course I want to build a successful business. I mean, that makes a lot of sense as well. But it's seeing other people's growth, you know, especially now where I am in my business and in my age in my life, is I really, with other people, and I run mastermind groups as well, and for women, and just to see them, a little light bulb goes on, or they walk
Isn't
out
that
of the
awesome?
meetings
That's wonderful, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So that rocks my boat, you know, is
It's
seeing other people.
motivational. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you was to say, who is the wind beneath your wings?
Well, my mum's passed, but it was definitely her. She pushed boundaries, you know, at when we were younger that women didn't necessarily do, but she never questioned my belief in me, if you know what I mean, you know. So I don't remember at any time with my parents belittling me and making me feel less. They
That's
may have, but
wonderful.
I delete things pretty quickly, so I don't know. And yeah, so that I've never sort of looked outside that much for. I've got a large group of people around me, and this is something I've learned to do over the years, is keep people around me who lift me. And if they don't, I'm sorry that I just don't spend time with them at all. And my friend that I said that I've been friends with for, you know, it's nearly 60 years, she has a job. She's never been motivated to go and do anything else, but she is there for me. You know, she's the one that will support me with, but you know, everything I do. That is a great idea, Janeen. You know, she's like that. So it doesn't have to be people that are full on motivated, but they're the people that you want to be with. You don't want to be with people who you walk away and go, why? That you don't want to feel bad. You want to feel good being around people. And I suppose that in general is the wind beneath my wings. It's just being around people who give me that updraft.
Well, you were definitely fortunate to have a foundation that didn't hinder you. That's a rarity for children today, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
as I said, I don't remember that if it was there. You know, I just remember that I was, yeah, gifted with, you know, of course you can do it. Go do it.
And you doing it. And it's what was it about it that it wasn't just enough for you to have all of this that you wanted to share with other people?
Oh, well, part of it's a business thing, you know. That's, as I said, that's what you need to do, is to share information with people if you want to be seen as authentic and genuine and have knowledge. I mean, that's what people get wrong, and they think people are going to steal my stuff if I get it out there. Yes, quite likely some people will, but they're not you. You know, when you're focusing on what other people will do or care, then you're not focusing on, you know, who you are and your true self. And so where was I going with this?
I was saying with
why do I go? Yeah. So why do I share that? So it
yeah.
makes business sense to do it is one of the things. But as again, it's just that mentoring of women. You know, I ran a last Friday morning, I was running a mastermind group, and, you know, I had one woman come up afterwards and go, this is the highlight of my month. You know, I love being here with all these other women who are encouraging and supporting, but there's always something that I can take away and apply to my business. That's important, but it's more that I feel lifted. You know, that's that overall process of feeling that they can do it as well.
Because the reason why I had asked you that question was because I knew from reading your book that it was far more than just money that motivated you to give. And I just wanted you to share with people that even though she didn't use the hard word,
no, I did.
Fulfillment for you to see other people grow as you grow as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm still part of a couple of the not-for-profit, that public speaking club. I'm president of one club. I mentor in another club, and I am secretary of the state, and I'm also president-elect of Australia, because again, it's my opportunity to assist others to become confident speakers, or just to become confident.
And that will make you confident when you can stand in front of people and open your mouth and have a plan, a roadmap that's just unfolding right before their eyes. That is a craft. That's a gift.
Yeah.
It is dynamic. It's fulfilling. It's challenging.
Yes.
It'd be new. It'd be an experience for you when you're doing it.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that people get so caught up in what if I make a mistake? You know, what if something goes wrong? Who cares? You know, it's not life and death. If you are a heart surgeon and you make a mistake, that's important. If you're standing on stage and speaking to people and you make a mistake, or you forget your words, or you move into the wrong spot, or you just brain freezes for a moment, it's not that important. It really isn't. And and this is going to sound a bit of tough love, but I find the people who are most conscious about what other people will think of them are quite self-absorbed,
Really?
This is you really look into it, because they're the people that will walk into a party and go, oh my gosh, what are people thinking of me? You know, how do I look? What's going on? You know, what are they going to say? Nothing. They don't care about you. They don't care about themselves. So knowing that is so powerful. I think that's another big confidence thing. It is freedom.
Yeah.
It's and
like
that's actually
just let it roll.
It is. Confidence is freedom, and just because most people are so into their own thing, they really don't care, and the people who care don't matter. You know, it's and the people who matter care. You know, it's
never that deep. It's just never that deep. People are going to go on with their life, and they may remember some of the things you said.
Correct. Yeah, and as we know, you know, whoever said that, it's not what people say, but it's how you make them feel that they remember.
Well, tell me this: how did you come up with that title for your book, "Good Girls Do Sell"?
Well, I did put it out there for people to give feedback and comment, and there is that book out there that's been, you know, bestseller. Good Girls Do Get the Corner Office. So, yeah, it's a good business book to read, and especially if you're in corporate, and it's a really handy book. So I played on that a little bit, and I had different names to it, and the next book was going to be following along the same Good Girls thing, but I've changed that up. But yeah, that was where that came from.
Because I really like that title, because it all depends what state of mind you're in. You know, if you don't see the other part, the modern businesswoman's guide to authentic selling, then your mind have to stop floating around and just focus in once you put that part on there.
What are we selling?
Yeah, but what I liked about it is, to me, that was saying that, but we don't have to do it the worldly way.
The worldly way?
The worldly way, you know, like aggressive.
Oh my gosh, no.
Right.
No.
That's what I picked up from. It's like, to me, it's saying we can do this, but we don't have to do it the way people expect for you to do it in the business world.
Yeah.
Because that's what, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. And there is a different perception of Australian selling styles to American selling styles. And the perception is the American styles are a lot more hard-hitting type of things, you know, a little bit more in your face. So that's what we see here from, you know, TV and shows or news and that sort of thing. And it doesn't go down well. And it doesn't go down well anywhere in the world. It might have been okay in the 60s, but now people don't get sold to, people buy. If you want something to buy, you just go Google it. And then you find out who's got it, and you check them out, and you check them out and check them out, especially with coaching. You know, follow them, you look at what they're doing. And this is why it's important to share stuff, is so people can get to know you as well. But that's what happens now, is people buy. So that if that authenticity isn't coming across, and that, you know, and that and the focus isn't on what's in it for the client, rather than they're trying to sell something, then they're going to miss the mark. So that's the purpose of that book, is encouraging people to understand that the focus is, okay, what's in it for my client? And people get caught up in talking about the technical part of their business, you know, the whereas they miss the benefits, you know, and they talk about the features, you know, I'm trying to think of something. It will, it has, you know, no animal testing. It's healthy to eat. It's, you know, it's great for vegetarians. So they'll focus on the features, but not the benefits of it. And you don't know what the benefits are to that specific person unless you ask questions. And that's where so many people, again, miss the mark because they're so busy telling people, but they're not actually finding out what's in it. So if you're talking about a healthy food product, if you're speaking to somebody who's vegetarian, then obviously it's important if you speak about, you know, no animal testing, it's vegetarian, obviously. But if you're talking to somebody like me who does like eating meat, and you talk about a vegetarian product, I want to know that it'll help me lose weight. You know, I don't care that it's vegetarian. I just want to know that it's going to taste really good, and the benefit might be I want to lose weight or whatever it is, you know, that.
Right.
Yeah. So you've got to know, you've got to ask questions, and you've got to know what's in it for that particular person.
Well, just like you said, you have to know what your message is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to feel comfortable with it, that is so natural when you're talking to them, like they practically realize you're a salesperson.
Oh,
like, to me, that's what I learned from it.
Yeah. Asking questions.
Just sharing your better opportunity or product because it could be to your benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what people
your benefit.
Yeah, sorry. And that's what people miss again is telling people what they do. You know, I've been coaching for 20 years, coaching sales team in the first aid realm. And I have my guys come to me and say, I cannot believe it. My customer has gone out and bought a defibrillator from somewhere else. And I said, did you ever tell them that you sell defibrillators as well? No, I just thought they'd assume that they would know that. So people have to know what you do. And I'm assuming that it's the same locally for you. There's lots of networking communities, and there's chambers of commerce and that type of thing where people can go and share their business, and they often have to get up for a minute and pitch their thing about what they do. If people try and sell in that pitch, they've lost their audience. But if they just tell them what they do and often share a story on how it benefited someone else, you know, oh my gosh, I was working with this client who was just so terrified of getting up on stage, and all we did was just focus on just, you know, opening a mouth to start with and saying hi, and then within 2 months she's up there and delivered 45 minutes. You tell a story like that, then people will connect to the story, right, rather than trying to sell a workshop or trying to sell your product. Yeah.
So what is the speak method?
The speak. Okay, now you're testing my memory. Now I haven't got my book in front. Okay, so SPEAK. Right. All right. Okay. Right. So the S is for the confidence factor, and I'm trying to think what the S.
Step out
of your comfort zone. I've got it. That's all right.
Yeah.
Yes. Step out of your comfort zone, and I encourage people to do that every single day. And it could be just something really tiny. If it's, I'm not game enough to make that call to that person. I've met them, but I haven't followed up. Just do it. You know, what can they say? No? They've definitely said no if you haven't called them. So it's something every day. If you don't like going for a long walk, just go for a short walk, whatever it is. So P is for your personal power. You know, own that, recognize it, overcome any negative thoughts that you've got that are going to slow down your path, and you know, really create a struggle within yourself. E is to engage with others, learn how to build that connection, how to understand how other people need to hear information. We all need it differently. And once you've had a conversation, we're just talking, you know, about that empathetic part of you, and I'm sure there's a bit of peacock in there as well, is, you know, how to connect with you as opposed to connecting with an owl. And A is for how do you attract people? What marketing and what do you do and what message do you put out that it will get people to notice you and respond to you and connect with you as well. And K is, this is the biggie. This is the one that most people don't do. They have to kick goals. They actually have to take action. They have to do it. They have to put systems in place to go, this is what I'm doing each day. If they're not great at setting goals, then they need to find a way that works for them. But they actually have to take action. Clients, I suggest that they monitor their hours of the week. How much time do they spend down the rabbit hole of Facebook a week? It's what do they do? Can they chunk their time? Can they block out chunks of time and say, this is where I stay focused, whatever it is, but set goals, create systems and take action. And that's what you do. You kick goals when you do that as well. So thank you for prompting me on that. I just haven't.
Exam time.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, it is 9 a.m. here. The brain has woken up a little bit.
Yes, it is. I knew you was going to do it. I wasn't even worried. I'm not going to say a word. So for your book, Good Girls Do Sell, what is the main thing you want women to walk away with from that book?
The main thing is, don't try and do it yourself. Really, there's so much support around there, out in the world, that just don't think that you have to do it yourself. It's a failing of women that we do that. We think that we're lesser if we can't manage everything, but we can't. So get a really good support group around you. When it comes to selling, tell, don't sell. And when you're speaking about a quote that I have is that features tell, which is okay. You can tell people about your business, but benefits sell. So, figuring out how there's benefits in it for people as well. But let people know what you do and don't be afraid to, hey, I'm in multi-level marketing. I have this amazing cosmetic product that I absolutely love. It's made me feel heaps younger, and I love telling people about it. So that's not a sell, that's just telling people, and you obviously name it as well, but you're just telling people that so when someone else comes along and go, oh, I didn't necessarily need that cosmetic, but you know what? I know somebody that does it, and they can recommend you as well. So that's probably the two main, and go do it. Take action. One, as you said before with your book, little step, little step, little step, little step, and take action and complete it.
So what is one of the main walls that they might as well expect to happen?
Walls?
Yeah.
Doubt, self-doubt, especially when you're trying to do it yourself. And that's why you need the group around you. A friend shared a beautiful quote yesterday, and they have it up in their room, and I can't think what it is at the moment. It's actually, I interviewed somebody on a podcast yesterday, and she shared this quote, and it's about that, that your success is just one more step away from you doing what you're doing. That's the type of thing about what the quote meant. And we don't know where that success, where it's going to come. There's so many inventors around the world, that Edison was 1,000 times before he got the light bulb on the 1,001. Just to keep doing, that because we're going to have that self-doubt. We're going to feel discouraged. We're going to think that, who am I to be an expert in this? Who am I to think that I can have this business that's going to be a success? Who am I to even think that I can get up on stage and speak to people? And that is something that is probably the biggest wall for most women. And my answer is, you are you. You've got your story, you've got your experiences, and people deserve to know and hear it. And they deserve if you've got a great product, they deserve it. And that's why I don't have any problem talking about my product and my business and that, because I know that it changes lives, and I know that people deserve to hear about how they can make their life different by working, working with me or whatever. But whether it's, you've got a great cosmetic or whatever, people deserve to know that hiding away, that's how to overcome, is to change that thinking, going, who am I letting down by not sharing my information?
Wow, that's true. So tell me this, being an entrepreneur, from my understanding, it's like a 24/7 state of existence. When do you take the coat off and enjoy the harvest, especially if you're just starting out? How do you not feel guilty just taking a time out from it?
You schedule it. You absolutely schedule it. I get my calendar, my diary out for the beginning of the year, every year, and I block out my holidays. That is my first thing every single year. I block out my long weekends, I block out my holidays, and any other time that I think that, no, I'm going to need some time there. Block it out. So it's covered. And I love travel. I travel overseas nearly every year, so I'm very fortunate to be in a position to be able to do that. And so I just, okay, I'm going to, and sometimes I'll incorporate with a conference, and then I'll add, as I did when I was in the States last year, had a conference in Seattle. So if you know where Australia is, and I went to New York, because New York's on the way to everywhere. Not, but came back to Seattle and did the drive, but I blocked out nearly 5 weeks of time because that's a priority, and that was blocked out right from the beginning of January. So that's the time, that's how to do it, because that's the most important thing you can do. I block out exercise time.
Really?
Yeah. Again, that's the biggest priority in my day or my week.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so tonight I'm going to go for a walk, but what I'm doing is I'm catching up with a friend, and in Brisbane we've got this most amazing area of parklands and restaurants all along our river. So we're going to go for a walk along the river for an hour, and then catch a ferry to, they've got a thing called Eat Street, which is a fun place with lots of different, it pops up, it's a pop-up eatery thing, and then we'll catch the ferry back. So we'll get the walk in for the hour, and then I get the time with a friend, and it's an evening out. My husband's traveling at the moment, so I've got a little bit of space as well, but he doesn't care. If I chose to do that he was here, he'd encourage me to do so. So yeah, so I block out, that's my exercise, but it's also the catch up with a friend and yeah.
So you're able to do that now. Was you able to do that when you were building?
Yeah.
Really?
Always. Fitness, exercise. I could not have the energy and put the time in and stay as focused as I am. And see, that's the thing, is if you allow time for your important things, like the time out, because the time out includes, playing with grandchildren. I love my children, but the best thing about them is they've given me grandchildren. So, which is awesome. So that's important time out. It's family time as well. But yeah, and because you're lifted by being fit and healthy, by taking time out, by you then, I find I can be really focused when I'm working, and I don't mind that I'm here until sometimes it'll be 10 o'clock, doing something, because I know that I'm not doing it all the time. That's a beautiful thing about working for yourself. You work the hours and do what you want around it. So
what part would you emphasize on about money on any level? If you was to talk to people with entrepreneur potential or wanting to start, I mean, if you were to say anything about money, what would you say?
A lot of people get into businesses and it becomes a bit of a hobby business. They're not earning the money that they really want to be earning, and it becomes a bit of a hobby. So if they're in that state, they really do need to reevaluate and look at what systems they've got in place and what they, and a question somebody asked me a few years ago was, what do you want to build? And I found that extremely powerful, because
wow.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
What do you want to build?
Yeah.
Do you remember your answer?
Well, for me, it was, I wanted to build, a successful business earning a certain amount of income per year, and be able to support women to do the same. That was really, that's what I wanted to build.
Wow.
So but when you start, so that's a good way to, focus first of all as to what actually do you want. If you're happy with $10,000 a year, well, then that's great, because that's what you're building. But do determine what do you want. Setting goals and writing them down, and writing them in a way that is effectual. And there's methods you can use as well, that you can set a goal, make it very visual, and then you can step it out into your future and then drop it into the future. And it's, a bit of not a meditation, but a bit of a visualization, and then that becomes more real. So doing that, if you don't write a goal, then you're not going to achieve it. That's the statistics have proven. If it's not written down, then it's you may as well not bother. It's not a goal. It's got to be written down.
Wow.
There was statistics. There was studies done at Harvard about people who wrote goals, and the percentages of people who had written the goals down was they were 80% more successful than the people who hadn't written goals. So it was very high. Yeah. So writing goals is vital when it comes to setting what you actually want to achieve. So what do you want to build? How do you get there is that next step with the setting goals. And act as if you have it. That's a really important part with money as well. Don't spend it as if you haven't, but act as if you have. There's a lady within some groups I know, and she's constantly talking about her lack of. And lack builds more lack. If you're talking about money, talk about it in a state of abundance. It's free flowing. There's trillions of dollars out there. I mean, we've got to get some of it. That's just the way it works. And so being mindful of your language and your conversations with yourself about money is really important. And it's, from hearing our parents say money doesn't grow on trees. So we build this, okay, it's not easy. You've got to work hard for your money. We've got all these stories in our head. And when we're talking about money to ourselves, we need to change that. No, it is easy to make money when I've got the right product, and I just need to meet the right people, who will pay that for what I've got to offer. So that's probably my money thing, is to have a good attitude towards it.
Well, I have to do a new intro. Janeen Vosper. Wow, Janeen Vosper, motivational speaker.
Well, there's a whole lot of topics.
Yeah, I mean, that was very motivational.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Wow, so it's so much still for you to share.
Oh, there is. It's actually given me an idea for my next round of speaking things around the local business groups is on money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's good, actually. I'll start. I'll go back when we finish this interview. I'll go and take all those notes about money. Yeah, and actually, I'll write it out and add it to the new book.
It was really very motivational.
Oh, cool.
It was like I wasn't ready for you to stop. Tell me more. I want more.
Thank you. I enjoy it, and you can see. When I'm coaching, when I'm running training courses, or I've done presentations, I'll come home after a full day of training, and I'll ring my friend Deb, who I talked about earlier, and I go, "Hi Deb, how are you?" "Oh, awesome." She said, "You've been coaching today." And I go, "Yeah, how did you guess?" It's like the squirrel in the hedge movie. It's just take a drink of V and go racing through things, and creates energy, because it does. I get energy by doing exactly that. So yeah.
Beautiful. Janeen.
Yeah.
You are on the Truth Will Set You Free show. Give us a truth to remember you by.
A truth about me? How deeply do we want to go about a truth?
Any truth you want us to remember you by.
Okay. A truth, Yeah, that's a really tricky question, isn't it? A truthy one. Remember, by I think my truth is that for me, I had this constant push. You know, that I have. It's part of innate, and I've adjusted it. It's come down a lot over the years because I realized that when I was teaching aerobics and had ridiculous fitness things, it wasn't healthy. But it's that being that push of self to achieve. You know, it's in me, but I see now as I see others grow, it's more. It still motivates me, but I can express it out now. You know, I can share it out a lot more than I have, and yeah, I suppose, is that what you mean? Is that the truth? I'm not sure what you're getting at there. So the truth is that it's for me, the joy is, and that's the motivation, is to get things out there and information for everyone to be successful and be happy with what they're doing and find their place, that their happy place, but just to know that they're worth it, that they've got stuff to offer. I think that's probably it. You know, that's
beautiful.
Stuff to offer. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Is there anything else you would like for us to know?
No, other than I'd love people to come on and subscribe and have a look at the We Are Women podcast and have a listen to it. If they've got a Apple, an iPhone or any of the Androids, you can download it on your podcast app. And when they go looking for it, it's just a grey background with We Are Women. There's a couple others that are on there. But yeah, and I'd love people to join me on show, listening to that. And I'd love feedback on the different people they've listened to as well.
Give us your information in case people want to contact you and your website and how they can purchase your book.
Sure. The website is speechperfect.com.au, and on there, there's got blogs. There's hundreds of blogs that they can download and have a look at. There's a free ebook on there too. It's called The 5 Barriers to Success for the Entrepreneurial Woman. So it looks at things that might be holding you back. There is, of course, the podcast. The links to the 46 episodes on the podcast are on there as well. And there's my contact details are also on there. And because people will spell, you'll have my name up anyway, which is janeen.vosper@speechperfect.com.au is the best way to email me. I do work with clients all around the world, so it's a matter of having a Zoom or a Skype conversation, and so it doesn't matter where people are located. And I do have an online training program, but all of that's on my website, so having all of that is probably the best way to get in touch with me.
Thank you so much for being on our show today.
Oh, look, I've absolutely loved it, Linda. You're so generous in sharing this, and it's just wonderful, and really, really pleased to be able to.
You're going to have to come back, when that book come out.
Yes. Look for the confidence factor. No. Oh, the book's online on Amazon too for people that are listening overseas. That's the easiest way is to download. I think it's on Kindle as well. Is that how you got it, on Kindle? Or I think it's. I remember.
Beautiful book.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.